to part two. In part two, what we're going to do is we're going to draw the isometric of the guide block in the same drawing space. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is that this miter line that we have here that we didn't make a construction line, well, it's going to get in our way a little bit. So I actually am going to replace it with a construction line. I'm going to replace it with a 2-point construction line that is array. Click on it there. I'll delete this miter line. Here I have a red miter line there. And I can go to layers and get rid of my construction lines. Okay. Now for this shape. What I need to do to be able to draw the shape is I need to be able to draw at 30 degrees. Like with our notebooks, we're going to make a shift so that we're able to draw at 30 degrees. What we do is we change our grid. Right now, this is a 90-degree grid. We need an isometric grid at 30 degrees. So the command we're going to use is called IsoDraft. We're going to select which plane we want to draw on. With top, right, or left. Left means front view. So we're going to start with our front view. And you'll notice that right away it shifts our grid. We're just going to draw this kind of in space, and we'll move it over later. So I'm going to start by drawing a line. It doesn't really matter where we draw it. I just want to make sure it's going at 30 degrees. And I'm going to make it this 5-inch line here. 5. Then we're going to go up 1.5 inches. We're going to go in 0.5 inches. We're basically replicating, oh, that was at the wrong angle. We're basically replicating our front view. 0.5 inches. Then we're going to go down 0.5 inches. We're going to go over 4 inches, up 0.5 inches, over 0.5 inches, and then down. It should connect. Great. So we've basically replicated our front view minus the hidden lines. That's what we have over here. Okay, now I need to draw up top. So I'm going to go into IsoDraft again. Actually, I'm going to do the right side first. And I'm going to change the plane to isoplane right. Draw a line. Half an inch in. This essentially allows us to change our grid. What I just did by going to IsoDraft allows us to change our grid so that we can draw at the angles we need to. Okay, this is going to be 1.5 inches. It's down another half inch. Be careful to make sure that this green line is going in the direction you want it to. 5 inches, then up 1.5 inches. And across, there's my right side view. Now, I need to do my top view. Isoplane top. Line here, that should be 2.5 inches long. That should just connect here. A line here, that's going to be 2.5 inches long. And just for fun, let's offset it by 0.5 inches. See if this works. This way. Nope, that doesn't work. Let's not do that. Line 2.5 inches. Connect it. Okay. And then again, line 0.5 inches. We're just kind of filling in what we see over here in our drawing. This should be pretty easy. Now we're just gonna, this line, we're not drawing it to its true length. We're just drawing it till it meets the surface that obstructs it. So that's right here. Now we need to do this line down at the bottom. We need to not forget that. And if we think about that, that's going to be on our front view. So we need to do IsoDraft again. Isoplane left, draw a line. It's going to be right here to make sure we're at the proper angle until we hit there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take care of these isometric circles, which is a lot less intimidating than it seems. the first thing we need to do before we draw these circles is identify where their centers are on here. Something to be very careful of is the offset command isn't going to work properly in this space because it's not going to move along the grid we're working with. So unlike before, we're not going to lean as heavily on that offset command. So we need to draw some construction lines first. So let's go into construction line. Let's click on this 2-point construction line here. And we'll go to the middle here. And we'll just make sure we're drawing at 30 degrees. And we did it. You'll notice that your old construction lines will come back to you, so try not to get confused if they're in your way. And now we're going to need to set up construction lines here, and they need to be parallel to this line here. Now, there must be a better way to do this, but this is the best way I figured out so far. So that's just what we're going to do because it does work. Now, if someone has a better way, please feel free to share it. So I'm just going to draw a line here that's 1.25 inches long. I gotta make sure it's in the right spot. Delete that, draw it again. Line here, that's 1.25 inches long. Okay. It's this line here. Make sure it's nothing weird's going on with it. Okay, looks good. And our construction line is going to be parallel to that, perpendicular to it. So we're going to go to construction line, and we're going to draw a 2-point construction line that goes here and there. And it should snap into the right angle. Then we can delete that line. We draw another line here, and we're going to make it 1.5 inches. I'm getting these numbers from up here. It says 1.25 inches over there and 1.5 inches over here. So I'm going to go at 1.5 inches over, and then just do a check to make sure nothing weird's going on, that this line's in the right place. Looks good to me. Okay, then I'll draw another construction line. 2 points. Goes through there. Okay, and then I can again select that line and delete it. Now that I have my construction line set up, I can draw my circles. Now these circles are not standard circles, they're isometric circles, which means we need to draw ellipses. So we're going to type into our command bar ellipse, and it'll give us 3 options: arc, center, or isocircle. We're going to click on isocircle, click on that center. Oh, it's not working for us because we're in our front view right now. We need to first go to IsoDraft, isoplane top, and then type in ellipse, click on isocircle over here, and it's asking us for the radius of our circle. If we look over here, it says that this is 3/4 inch drill, so 3/8 is going to be our radius, divided by 8. Go into ellipse again, hit on isocircle, and then again our radius is 3 divided by 8. Okay. All done, we have the shape. Now the last thing we need to do is our center marks. Let's again make our construction lines invisible and click center mark. But when we do that, we really have no luck because these aren't standard circles. So that's really not going to work for us. So we need to actually draw center lines. The thing about AutoCAD is that it doesn't have a really elegant way to add center marks to our isometric circles, to our ellipses. It just doesn't have that option because it's really not that common of a thing for people to do. So I'm going to turn my construction lines back on. That's going to help me a little bit with drawing. Now, as I said, I can't use my center mark command, and actually my center line command won't help me much either because I don't exactly have 2 lines and halfway in between them I'll put, a center line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw lines where my center lines should be. I'm kind of going to treat these like hidden lines. I'm going to draw the lines first, and then I'm going to modify the line type to be a center line. So I'll select all 4. And these lines are a little bit short, so I want to make sure that I'm using the smallest version of center lines possible. So I'm going to scroll down through my options, and it looks like center 2 is the best thing for me. Okay, so I still don't have visible breaks, so I actually need to make these center lines longer. Let me extend them by 1/2 inch in each direction and see what that does. That looks pretty good. I wonder if I undid that and just extend them 1/4 inch, what that would do. Would that do enough for me? Looks like it did. What about 1/8 of an inch in each direction? I don't think this will be enough, but hey, trial and error. Nope, not enough. So 1/4 inch in each direction is the key here. We want to do this evenly because the break will be in the middle. So if I do not extend this evenly on both sides, it won't put a break in the middle. The break will be off to the side or something, and I won't get this center mark. 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25. Okay, and there we are. Let's turn off our construction lines. Finished. Isometric. Now, this isometric is a little bit far from our orthographic, so I'm actually going to shift it over a little bit, and here's how this works. I'm going to use a command called move, and this allows me to move anything wherever I want. I need to select multiple things, so I'm going to click and select the entire shape here, and press enter, and it's going to ask me to select a base point. So kind of like a reference point that I'm moving. So I'm just going to click the corner of this shape, and then I'll move it over. Here's a good area. So this is generally what you want it to look like when you're done with an ortho iso combination. And the last thing I'm going to do is put my grid back to an orthographic grid, and I am done. Save it and submit it. That's it for today. There's a similar model for you guys to work through. Please watch the mini videos that I attached as well.